Good evening, everyone. I'm Woo-seok Koh from Seoul, Korea. After fellowship at Wellman Center, I have been practicing laser hair removal for 21 years. The subject of my presentation today is diode laser for laser hair removal. My presentation consists of the following topics: basic of laser hair removal, what is a diode and the diode laser, 4 diode lasers for laser hair removal, including light shear, vectors, lens scan, and soprano titanium, and diode laser hair removal techniques and cases and parameters and side effects will be discussed. And finally, I'm going to talk the summary for best perpetual hair removal results. The possible mechanism suggested is that the laser light is observed by melanin pigments in the hair shaft, and heat energy spread from the hair shaft to the actual target, which are follicular stem cells and dermal papilla. After dyeing, the hair stem cells are separated from the hair shaft. To make a mechanism more understandable, Rox Anderson and Dieter Meinstein's group suggested the extended theory of selective photothermal lysis. Dermal papilla cells are essential for hair growth, but the mechanism to damage the papilla cells is not clear. What is a diode? Diode is an electrical component that allows the flow of current in only one direction. Most diodes are made with semiconductor materials, and the most common types of diodes uses a p-n junction. The first semiconductor lasers were developed in 1962. Visible and infrared diode lasers are made from elements in groups 3 and 5 of the periodic table, which are aluminum, gallium, indium, or nitrogen, phosphorus, arsenic, antimony, bismuth. A diode laser requires a resonant cavity, which is not present in a light-emitting diode LED. Individual diode lasers are tiny blocks of semiconductor material. To form a two-dimensional diode array, bars are stacked together on a common heat sink. This is a plot of power output versus drive current of the laser diode, which is good to know to understand laser diode system for laser hair removal. Below threshold, it operates as an LED, and above threshold, it operates as a laser. Common high-power diode lasers need many diode arrays like this picture. The advantages of diode laser is that it consumes less power, offers long life, simple in design, compact in size. The disadvantages of diode laser is that beam divergence is much greater and it is expensive. These are factors to evaluate the diode lasers for laser hair removal. First one is maximum peak power and spot size, wavelengths, contact cooling capacity, pulse duration. All 5 factors are important. Most diode laser systems for laser hair removal are 800 nanometer to 810 nanometer, and the penetration of 800 to 810 into skin is quite comparable to 1064 in this graph. In this meta-analysis of hair removal laser trials, the results showed that diode laser is the most effective and neodymium YAG has the least effect of hair removal. Light shear, vectors, lens scan, soprano titanium will be covered in this lecture. FDA cleared the diode laser system for laser hair removal in December 1997. The first diode laser systems was light shear, and after that, various light shear models were introduced into the market. Light shear spot sizes and handpieces have changed, and if you know the spot sizes of light shear, you can easily understand the various models of light shear. There are several models of original light shear. XC model is the most effective because of the highest maximum peak power of 2900 watts and the largest spot size of 12 by 12 millimeter square. There are 3 handpieces in Light Your Desire model. Still, you can choose XC handpiece, but the maximum peak power of XC handpiece of Light Your Desire model was decreased from original 2900 watts to 1900 watt. Luminis also introduced Infinity model, which have 805 nanometer or 1060 nanometer wavelengths, so dual wavelengths, and 9 by 27 millimeter spot size was added, but I don't have enough experience to talk about this model. In Vectus, there are 2 handpieces, smaller one and large one. A smaller one is 12 by 12 millimeter and the large one is 23 by 38 millimeter spot size. Smaller handpiece, the maximum peak power of smaller handpiece is 2200 watts, and maximum peak power of large handpiece is 3000 watts, which is the highest maximum peak power in the market. Small and large handpiece of Vectus. 40 or 50 milliseconds perturbations of Vectus are good parameters for darker skin, for example, Asian genital area hair removal. The original Linscan 808 have 2000 watts per square centimeter power density and 50 by 15 millimeter spot size, and also you can choose contact cooling temperature from 0 degree to 20 degrees Celsius. High power density with large treatment area is possible due to the linear scanning technology. This is the video for explaining linear scanning technology. Small laser diode bar is moving from one side to the other side and scanning all the area. Comparing to original Linscan, new Linscan is equipped with light handpiece with a 10 by 20 millimeter spot size. There are 6 soprano titanium applicators. I'll talk about Quattro handpiece today. The spot size of Quattro applicator is 4 square centimeter, and there are 3 wavelengths in Quattro applicator: 755, 810, and 1064 nanometer. In motion mode of low fluence multipass technique is unique in soprano titanium. Software suggests the treatment time depending on the grid size and type of handpiece. There are 2 basic laser delivery techniques. The first one is single pass with high fluence. The second is multiple passes with low fluence. Single pass technique is divided into sliding and pick and place techniques. This video shows a single pass technique with pick and place method. This video shows multiple passes with low fluence. Contact cooling is the main ectodermal cooling techniques for diode laser hair removal. Contact cooling technique is divided into 2 different methods. First one is short contact time with sliding technique, and second method is adjustable contact time with the pick and place technique. Also, cold room temperature is helpful to lower skin temperature additionally. And cold room temperature is also helpful to prevent overheating of diode laser array. Contact cooling is the best for laser hair removal because it is parallel cooling and operators can modify cooling time during treatment easily. In this article, Clavon showed that contact cooling is very effective to prevent skin damage. In this article shows that only 20 degrees Celsius cooling chill plates also prevent skin surface damage. This case shows good enough contact cooling prevents scar formation. Above pictures are helpful to understand why strong contact cooling is required to protect interfollicular damage and prevent scar formation. Candlelight is representing hair follicles. This video shows that the contact cooling time difference depending on the skin condition. To get the best permanent hair removal results, trying to get 100% coverage rate as possible is the most important. In other words, no skipped area. No skipped area is not only mathematically better because of the hair regeneration property. In this article, I reported the device to measure the skipped area percentage and confirmed the difference of each practitioner's treatment pattern. In this article, I also reported the omission and overlap percentage of 8 physicians, which are very different. To minimize the untreated area, measuring the size and practicing the moving speed depending on the laser pulse frequency is mandatory. Usually, just 1 hour of practice makes the treatment pattern better. To properly evaluate permanent hair removal results, practitioners need to follow a patient more than 6 months after the last treatment. In the data of many articles on laser hair removal, we can find the hair reduction rate is stable 6 months after stopping laser hair removal treatment. In this article, hair regrowth appears to plateau, with no statistically significant difference among the percentage of regrowth at 3, 6, 9, and more than 12 months follow-up evaluation. In this article, even more hairs were reduced after 9 months than after 6 months. In this case, no hairs grew for 3 years, 7 months after 5 treatments, which means the results are permanent. Now, I'll talk about conversion rate of fluence between diode lasers for laser hair removal. Making your own conversion rate of fluences is very important because each fusion's treatment technique is different, depending on moving speed, contact time for skin cooling, compression pressure, and contact quality. And also, considering the spot size is very important. Theoretically, we consider only wavelengths like this slide because depending on the wavelengths, the melanin absorption coefficient is different. So usually we think only absorption coefficient curve and wavelengths. But as I mentioned, each device is different and each physician have different techniques. So each physician, if they are using different lasers with same wavelengths, then it's better to make their own conversion rate. I'll show my conversion rates of fluences between diode lasers. If the light shear fluence is assumed to be 1, then Vectus is 1.1 and Linscan is 1.3. And for example, light shear 25 joule is equal to 27 to 28 joule of Vectus and also equals to 32 to 33 joule of Linscan. My fluence range for Koreans, light shear is between 15 to 45 joule, Vectus is 16 to 50 joule, Linscan is 20 to 60 joule. Usually I use 30 millisecond prostration of light shear and 30 to 50 milliseconds of Vectus and 20 to 30 milliseconds of lean scan. I'll talk about spot size and fluency issue briefly. As we know, if we use the same fluence, the light penetrates deeper with larger spot. I reported in ASLMS meeting that 3 times larger spot size makes 30% more hair reduction. And also, Victor Ross reported in ASLMS that the same temperature rise in a target at 3 mm depth is realized by increasing area 4 times while reducing fluence by half. For example, 1 square centimeter spot and 10 joule is equal to 4 centimeter square spot and 5 joule. So 22 by 35 millimeter spot, 15 joule is higher than 12 by 12 millimeter spot, 30 joule square centimeter per square centimeter, if the prostrations are the same. Cases and parameters. These are my experience of diode lasers from 1998. Light shear. Underarm before and 2 years 9 months after 5 treatment. Another case of underarm before and 3 years 7 months after 5 treatment. Lower leg before and 3 years after 3 treatments. Forearm before and 3 years 2 months after 5 treatment. Widening forehead before and after hair removal. This is the technique to make a natural hairline. The wavelength fluence and prostration should be varied to avoid forming a distinct hairline. Before and 3 years 11 months after 6 treatments. Before and after 5 treatments. This is the male face hair removal case. The detail is written in the slides, and these pictures are before treatment. 7 months after 6 treatments. Before and 7 months after 6 treatments. Before and 8 months after 7 treatments. Left picture shows after 6 treatments in another clinic with alexandrite laser. Right picture shows after 7 treatments in my clinic with light shear. Vectus cases. Before and 3 months after 5 treatments. Before and 7 weeks after 3 treatments. Before and 13 weeks after 5 treatments. Before and 20 weeks after 4 treatments. Varicose nerves before and 8 weeks after 5 treatments. Lean scan cases before and 6 months, 1 year after 3 treatments. Before and 6 months and 1 year after 3 treatments. Another case of underarm. Lower leg before treatment, immediate after treatment, 6 months and 1 year after 3 treatments. Before and 4 months after 10 treatments. Side effects. There are many reported side effects of diode laser hair removal, and proper care of side effects is very important. Crust formation. Usually this kind of crust formation happens because the physician do not wipe out the debris of hair follicles attached to the surface of the tip. hyperpigmentation and hypopigmentation after treatment, bulla formation after treatment, erythema and follicular accentuation, and this kind of reactions usually happen in the lower leg and quite difficult to treat, but usually within 1 or 2 months this kind of reactions resolve with oral steroids or without any treatment. This patient is a case who had vitiligo before laser hair removal. New vitiligo lesions on the face have developed due to the laser hair removal. In this case, vitiligo responded to excimer laser treatment and improved. Doctors can help patients determine whether taking this level of risk will benefit them or not. This is my summary for best perpetual hair removal results. No skipped area is the most important factors to get the permanent hair removal results, and use highest fluence as possible and bigger spot size as possible if you can use the same fluence, and select proper wavelengths and perforation, and regular treatment is required. Appropriate skin cooling and room temperature is also important. Removing almost all hairs perpetually with a very low failure rate is possible, at least for untanned Asians with black hairs, in my experience. Because of time limit, I cannot explain diode laser hair removal enough, but I hope it helps your practice. Thank you for your attention.